Due to economic and infrastructural crisis in Canada, there have been lots of immigration policy changes in the last few months. Now, depending on how you look at these policies, they can come across as positive or negative. In this video, we're going to be looking at one of the most recent immigration policy changes with regards tourist visa, the automatic granting of a multiple entry visa with visitor visa applications. Hello, beautiful people. My name is NJ. If you're seeing my video for the first time, and if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for always coming around. In this channel, I talk about everything travel, everything positive about travel, job opportunities, scholarships, and everything good in between that helps you achieve your relocation journey without necessarily breaking the bank. So, if this is you, you have strong relocation dreams, you definitely want to stick with me in this channel. Now, so, what is it about this new amended policy? So before now, you know that if you have applied for a Canadian tourist visa, you get an automatic 10-year multiple entry visas. But this is going to be changing now with this new policy. So the Canadian IRCC is saying, or they're giving more power to the immigration officers to use their discretion to decide who and what kind of visas and what duration visitors visas are issued for. So rather than automatically giving you a 10-year multiple entry visas, you're going to be getting a shorter time visa. It could be for 6 months, 2 months, 5 years, 2 years, depending on the discretion of the immigration officers, and they're going to be looking at several criterias. All of that we're going to be seeing in this video today and seeing how this affects you and how you can adjust your belt if you plan on applying for a tourist visa. The IRCC said that the shift was a part of a broader strategy aimed at managing temporary immigration levels, addressing housing shortages, and controlling the rising cost of living. The change means that frequent visitors to Canada may now encounter increased application costs and shorter term visas, impacting those who regularly travel for work or leisure. Absolutely. Now, so this is everything we've been talking about. Now, you know that all of these were birthed by, economic crisis, infrastructural crisis, and all of that that has hit Canada in recent times. And, they're trying to adjust policies back and front to see that they bring Canada back to normalcy. Under this new guidance, multiple entry visas with maximum validity will no longer be the standard. Officers will now have the discretion to assess each applicant individually and decide whether to issue a single entry or multiple entry visa based on the need for travel. So the duration of these visas may also vary depending on the traveler's specific circumstances. Now some of the circumstances may include the purpose of visit, okay? Is it a one-time visit? Perhaps you're going for a conference, a tourist visit or something. That may mean that it could be just a one-time short-time visa and a single entry visa, okay, because it's a one-time event. Or does it look like something that you would warrant that you travel in and out of Canada? Say you're visiting a family member, or you're going to look after a sick family member, or something like that, okay, which is more like something that's going to last a little bit longer. So you're going to be looking at all of these things, and that will determine what kind of visa you're getting. Now, some of the circumstances may include the purpose of visit, okay? Are you going for a one-time event? Say, for example, if you're going for a conference or even, a tourist visit, right? And that may look like a one-time event. And for that, most likely you'll be getting a short-term visa, a single entry visa, because it's only like a one-off thing. And if you're going maybe to see to visit a family member or maybe a sick family member, which probably could be like a long-term thing, maybe because of the nature of their ailment or the problem, then that may mean that you may get a long time, maybe multiple entry visa. So it all depends, right? Now, they also want to be looking at the funds provided by the applicant. They're also going to be looking at the funds provided by the applicants. Maybe if you have an employment in your home country, which gives you a consistent funding, that will be very, very important to argue your case. And as well, if you are supported by your host, if somebody is inviting you to Canada, maybe a relative, right? And if they are supporting your expenses during your visit to Canada, and if they are supporting, then the host is going to come under scrutiny as well. Have they done things like this in the past? Have they invited people to Canada in the past? And have they kept to their part of the agreement if they have done that in the past? Just basically looking at their integrity as persons, and as well, what kind of job do they have in Canada? Are they sufficient enough? Are they financially sufficient to actually um take care of the responsibility that they are agreeing to take? So all of this scrutiny, these are the kind of the dimensions they're going to be looking at. Okay, they're going to look at your home ties as well, your family members at home, job, for example, at home, properties, and those kind of stuff. They're also going to be looking at your travel history, obviously. Have you traveled in the past? What countries you traveled to? And if you did adhere to your visa conditions in the past, right? And as well, if you've got visa denials in the past, obviously that may prompt more scrutiny, right? As to why the denials in the past, okay? So these are the kind of things they want to be looking at. And then if you're going for health visits as well, they want to look at, what kind of health condition it is. Obviously, do you have the necessary funding to fund that condition? Perhaps you have an emergency, or if you have a health condition at the time you're traveling, which sometimes can, prompt emergencies. They want to see that if peradventure those emergencies happen in Canada, do you have a health insurance, a sufficient financial backing to take care of those emergencies that may prop up? You may want to agree with me that overall, that a visitor's visa is going to be really, really strict, right? You know, um, as far as things as political conditions of the applicant's country would be looked at. Now, that with political conditions, like economic conditions, political economic conditions of your country, say, for example, people coming from a country where there are fights and wars and all of that, those kind of people may come under even more scrutiny, or where the economy is really struggling, right? Let me use the word struggle. Those kind of persons or applicants may come even more under scrutiny. So overall, I mean, like, it's going to be really, really tougher than it used to be, okay? Now, as far as things as political conditions of the applicant's home country is going to be scrutinized, so things like, the political economic status of, the applicant's country. Say, for example, if people are coming from a struggling economy, um, they may kind of come under more scrutiny. If they're coming from a place where, there's a lot of fighting and wars going on, they may want to come under, those kind of people may come under more scrutiny as well. So these kind of things are not necessarily things that they would go to look at in details before now for a tourist visa. But with the whole crisis in Canada, like I said, these kind of checks has never been, but of course with the economic and housing crisis, it has become really necessary for the Canadian government to put up all of these measures to curb the number of people visiting Canada. Now, how does this apply to you, right? You applying for a Canadian visa. This means that you need to come out of your comfort zone. Definitely, you need to put in more work. You need to scrutinize your application a lot more, because you don't want to be applying for a visa, paying for a visa application fee, when you know that you stand a very little chance having getting that visa approved. You definitely don't want that, right? As much as possible, you want to improve your chances of getting your visa approved. So moving forward, this means that if you're applying for a tourist visa, if you have plans of applying for a tourist visa, I mean, you need to do your homework. You want to sit down and scrutinize your visa as much as the immigration officer would do. At the end of the day, you don't want to be making applications, paying visa processing fees, when you have very little chances of getting your visas approved. You definitely don't want that, right? So you want to really come out of your comfort zone. If you're making an application, scrutinize your application so much more than the officer would do, right? And that way, you are sure to some certain extent that you had done your homework before submitting your work. Guys, I'm gonna leave you guys here, and I will see you in my next video. If you have any questions, any contributions or opinions, please put them down in the comment section. Let's keep the conversation going, and until then, I'll see you in my next video. Stay safe, and remember, stay out of trouble.